good, y'all? It's Naazir. In today's video, we are going to be doing a Pasun clothing haul. Now, you guys know I do not buy from Pasun a lot, if not at all, if I really don't have to. But they did have a huge sale around the beginning of December, so this stuff has been sitting here for a while, where they had everything from 50 to almost 80% off. So I decided it'd be a perfect time to give them a chance, pick up some items that I want to incorporate into, you know, my everyday wear or just essential items. And on top of that, I'll give them another chance to see if Pasun is really worth it. So that's what we'll be going over in today's video. Stay tuned for the end for the worth it and my just, you know, critiquing on if Pasun is worth it. But with all that out of the way, now that you guys know that everything is going on, let's get into the very first item that I grabbed. Alright, so the first thing that we do have up is this Exorcist Tee. Now, this is based off of the book The Exorcist, but as you can see, it does have the whole graphic on the front with the Exorcist at the top, and this does have a bit of the exaggerated puff print on it as well. I picked this one up because even though it's not a vintage tee, I still thought the overall graphic and the execution was pretty cool, and since I didn't have to pay full price for it like everything else on this rack, I just thought I'd pick it up anyway because it was a cool tee. So this is really it on the first one. The quality feels pretty decent, like a regular t-shirt, but that's really it on this one. So let's get into the next tee that I grabbed. Now, the next tee I grabbed that I didn't even know they sold this brand was just a plain, as you can see, it's like a foliage green, I believe it's called. Roscoe, I think workwear, Roscoe workwear. It's just a pretty basic tee. I've been trying to add more tees like this to my collection, just so you know you could wear with other things like flannels and things like that. And I don't think I paid a lot for this one either, because I think this one was marked at 70% off, which was actually pretty crazy because this tee is already pretty cheap by itself. But I just grabbed this one. It's a pretty simple tee, and I thought it was something pretty nice to grab, just a nice little essential, and that's really it on this one. So let's get into the next one. Alright, and the last tee that we have is actually just this Pasun Basics t-shirt. The quality on it is actually pretty thin, but for quality and everything, like I said before, it's thin, so it will be kind of breathable, but it won't be like a super breathable t-shirt, if you get what I'm saying. And this one ended up costing me $5 from originally $20. So I was pretty satisfied with that price point, and you can't really go wrong with a striped shirt. Yet again, this is another essential. So now let's get into the bottoms. Alright, so for the first pair of bottoms, I was actually trying something new. And I did end up getting this pair of slightly tactical Sherpa little sweatpants. And they also do have the little, you know, little string things at the bottom. And for me to actually be able to pick these up on sale was a perfect way for me to try something new style-wise, while also getting something a little bit different in my collection. And I will have to say, after trying these on, I didn't think they were going to look that good with some of the items that I have, but they actually look pretty good for this color. The camera does not do it any justice, trust me. But it is a nice little different, you know, little fleece slash like Sherpa material. And it is something that you're not going to see on everybody right now. And they're just pretty unique in my honest opinion. The quality on them as well is almost compared to a Nike or Champion sweatpant for sure. But yeah, just a little, you know, green Sherpa. We'll definitely be wearing these a bit more as it gets a bit colder. But that's really it on these. So let's get into the next pair of bottoms. Now for the second to last item, we do have this pair of black, almost similar sweatpants, and they do have the also little tactical little, you know, pocket right here. But this pair was just black fleece, and then they do have that hint of volt. I don't know if you guys saw it, but right here on the inside zippers, which you can get away with. It's not really that if you cover it up, you can get away with it, honestly. And I honestly thought this pair was super clean. Of course, you can never go wrong with black sweatpants. And as far as the quality goes, it's almost similar to the last pair. It's just this pair is fleece, so it's not as thick, but it will definitely still keep your legs warm on those colder days. Now, I did also end up picking these up for way less than what the original price was. I think these are about $15 from, I think, around 40, maybe 50. But for that price point, you can't go wrong with them. And honestly, for $15, this is a really, really solid pair of sweats to pick up. So now let's get into the final item before we go over if this is worth it. Alright, and for the last item, we probably have the biggest steal of the entire haul. and that's actually this denim trucker jacket. And this one was actually, as you can see, the price was I think about $50, if that. But I actually ended up picking this one up for 15 bucks. Now this one was the one that I wanted to try. As someone that also has a few Levi's denim trucker jackets, I wanted to see how the quality was on this one, especially because it also, as you can see, does not have any inner lining. So when I did try this on, it was a bit weird, but then I realized Pasun basically made this not really to be worn just underneath or over a t-shirt. You probably throw this on with a hoodie or something like that per usual. But that was really it. The quality, of course, it's denim. So if you know Pasun denim, then you know exactly how this Pasun jacket will feel. If you don't, then the denim quality is actually pretty decent as far as it being a fast fashion brand. You can also compare it to about Urban Outfitters or H&M denim if you do have any pairs. Now that will be it on this jacket. So now let's get into, is Pasun worth buying? Alright, we are now at the final breakdown where we talk about quality, quantity, exclusivity, hype tax, product execution, value, and then the overall comfort of the items. Now we will go over all of these. At the end, we will give it a score out of 80, and then I will give my final verdict on if the brand is worth investing into or making your entire closet full of this one brand. So without further ado, let's get into the first part of the breakdown. Now, the first one that we will be going over is quality. And honestly, quality-wise, on most of the items that you will grab from Pasun, I will say that the quality is pretty decent. It was not the absolute best, but at the same time, it's not the absolute worst. Because trust me, there are brands out there that are worse than this. I'm not going to name any names, but we know one place in the mall where you do not go to buy clothes 9 out of 10. So for this overall part, I'm going to give them about a 6 out of 10, just because I feel like for the price point that they have some of their items at, they could be a little bit better quality if you're going to be paying so much for an item that's probably going to be in your closet for a very long period of time. So with that being said, now let's get into quantity. Now for quantities, I am going to give them a solid 10 out of 10, because trust me, you can find any Pasun anywhere, and 9 out of 10 they are going to have the item that you are looking for, either online, at another store, or any of the above. But the only thing that I do say about quantities is, even though there is a lot of quantity, do not always expect every single item to be the best quality. Sometimes quantity and quality do not go hand in hand, so be on the lookout for that the next time you buy an item from them as well. So now with that being said, let's get into the next aspect of the breakdown. Now the next two I am going to go over together, which will be both exclusivity and value. For both of these, off the rip, I'm going to give them a 4 each, just because Pasun is not known for having the most exclusive items, but when they do, for example, the Fear of God Essentials lines and things like that, or their other line actually that they have with Rugi from Rude, those items will hold their value. Now as far as other items, don't expect them to hold that much value, if anything, because Pasun is one of those fast fashion brands where they change with the trends. So once something goes out of style and people just aren't wearing it like that anymore, don't expect to be able to make either extra money or make the amount of money that you paid for the item back when you go to sell it. So for those both, I have to respectively give them both a 4, which gives out the 2, 8 out of 20. So now let's get into the next portion. Now the next one we will be going over relates to the last two that we just went over, and those will be hype tax. Now, like I said in the previous ones, if it's not Fear of God or a brand like Rude or anything like that being carried in the store, it's not going to have any hype tax. For this, I have to give it a solid no look pass, just like Scottie Pippen, 1 out of 10, only because you're not buying Pasun for the hype tax. Let's be honest. Now, if it was a brand like Uniqlo and a collaboration like Keith Haring or Cause or something like that, those would hold value. But Pasun is mostly for the people, and since they do change with the trends, they're not really going to hold any hype tax at all. So with that being said, smooth no look pass, 1 out of 10. Now the next thing we will be going over is product execution. I'm not gonna lie, Pasun does have a few pieces that are some head turners as far as quality on the graphics or just the overall look of the piece goes. But I'm still going to have to give them about a solid 7 out of 10 because even though they do have some hits, they do have some misses as well. And Pasun does also follow a few trends as far as vintage tees and things like that go. So a lot of things you can find are reprints, and even though there are better reprints out there, Pasun sometimes do not have the best quality. So for that reason, I'm going to have to give them a 7 out of 10. Now the next ones that we will have to round this off are product versatility and comfort. To start, we're going to start off with product versatility, and I did give them an 8 out of 10 only because I feel like Pasun is one of those fast fashion brands, or they do have some essentials to where if you're trying to try a new look or just trying to style a piece differently before you invest in a more expensive version of the piece, they are definitely a go-to as well as like Urban Outfitters or H&M. So for that, I did give them a solid 8 out of 10. Now as far as comfort goes, I would also give them a solid about 7. They do have some pieces that are uncomfortable. For example, this jean jacket behind me, only because some of the items you would expect to be able to be comfortable in right away, but it is understandable that you do have to break some items in. So keep that in mind when you are buying things from Pasun, especially denim related. You are going to have to take a while and actually dedicate yourself to wearing that piece a bit more frequently in your rotation before it gets to the comfort that you are probably expecting. Now, let's get into the final verdict and my honest opinion on if Pasun is worth buying or even investing for your entire closet. Now that we have rated and gave a number to all of the breakdown categories, the final score was actually a 47 out of 80, which is not bad. It got more than 50%. I wasn't as brutal as I could have been to Pasun, but my final verdict after giving Pasun a second chance, if it is worth investing for your entire closet or worth buying in general, I would say it really depends on the item. If I had to be flat out, no, it's not. Not at all, especially for some of the price points that they do have some of their items at. I feel like you could go elsewhere and honestly get a way better quality piece. Or honestly, you could do what I do and just buy vintage clothing. Now, I do say they still do have some solid items, but as far as making your entire closet out of this, I highly do not recommend because you do want to have quality pieces that will last you a very long period of time, especially if you're someone that's already found your style and now you're just looking for pieces to invest in. But that will be it for today's video. Don't forget to comment down below what your favorite item is or the last time you even shopped at Pasun, because trust me, before this, it's probably been a solid 2 years before I stepped in a Pasun and actually bought some actual clothes. So that will be it for today's video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.